Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Football Friday, and it's actually like an actual football Friday. There's actual football going to be played, and look who's over my shoulder. I am downtown here at our headquarters at DK Pittsburgh Sports. Welcome to the Southside Beat. My name is Chris Halicke. Greg Macafee joining me. And it's good to have you back after covering that very exciting Pirate team.
Oh my God! Yeah, it was a good one. Up until that ninth inning, man. Whoo!
So yeah, actual football going to be played today. This is very, very exciting. This is the day we've really been waiting for ever since the start of training camp. To finally get a chance to look at this team in a stadium to see. Okay, yeah, I understand Russell Wilson's not playing. 6 other veteran guys not playing, but man, I'm ready to see what some of these players are going to be able to do once they get into a stadium. Justin Fields is a guy who I'm going to be looking at for sure, and there's a few other guys, but we can get it. I think we should start off with the quarterback because Russell Wilson's not going to be there. So Justin Fields, what can he possibly do in this game? It's preseason. We know how fickle this can be based off of especially what we saw last preseason with Kenny Pickett, and this offense looked like they were going to take him to the Super Bowl, and obviously that did not happen. So what can Justin Fields do in this game in order to elevate his to build off of what he's already done in training camp?
I mean, I think it starts with kind of efficiency. Tomlin touched on it a little bit on Wednesday, where he just wants to see the offense run smoothly first of all. Get the motions correct. The operation of the offense needs to be smooth in those first couple drives that he's in there. But other than that, just playing efficiently, completing passes, making good reads, standing in the pocket. I think the one thing that we've talked about kind of continuously throughout training camp is, what's going to happen when it's not Steelers versus Steelers. And it's another team coming at him through the offensive line, that wants to take him down. They're not going to let up. They're going to go after him. They're going to take him down. So how confidently does he stay in the pocket at that point? How quick does he break out? How long does he stay on his reads? Things of that nature. I think if he can operate the offense pretty smoothly and efficiently, I think it's going to do a lot for his case under center. But it just starts with that, I think, and if he can do that, it will do a lot for him. But yeah, I think it starts there.
I agree, because the one thing that I really want to see is how he operates within the structure of the offense, what he's able to do when he's just trying to drop back, go through his reads, and see what he can do from the pocket, how he is able to break down coverages, because we know what he can do with his legs. We know that if he sees a lane that he'll take off. And, Tom Arth, said this week, that's what they coach him to do. We're not going to try to coach his instincts out of him. At the same time, I do think that what's going to help him take his game to the next level is the ability to be an actual quarterback at times. To take pretty much what Mason Rudolph was able to do with this team at down the stretch last year, be competent from the pocket, drop back, make your reads, make nice, accurate throws. If Justin can do that for a couple of series, that's again, we're not going to try to say, okay, well now Justin should be the starter. We're not going to overreact.
No, not at all.
But it would just be a good thing for him to do, to continue to build off of what he's doing. And and Williams says, I hope he just stays in the pocket. Listen, but you also want Justin Fields to be Justin Fields.
Yeah, no, and
his big game ability is also what makes him a potential superstar.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's not like, like you said, like they don't need to coach that out of him. He just needs to know. He just needs to find that balance of when to take off, when to stay in the pocket, when to stay on his reads, and everything like that. Because he's a game changer when he uses his legs, but it's all about finding that balance and doing it at the right time. And I think in the past he's done it more often than not. When he should have stayed on a read or something like that. But when he uses his legs correctly, I think is when he plays his best. And like you said, you don't want to coach that out of him, but you also want him to stay in the pocket, stay on his reads, and be able to run the offense efficiently.
Stephen A says, "Dear God, please no injuries tonight." That's obviously a big thing. What Mike Tomlin will say, clean bill of health. That's what I'm sure what probably the number one thing he wants to say at the conclusion of tonight's game is to just say clean bill of health.
Healthy. Yeah. No laundry list of bangs up or injuries or anything like that. We want to get out of this game clean.
Yeah. A couple of you have already said this. Stephen A says, "I'm excited to see Peyton Wilson tonight." And I feel like you will get a good dose of Peyton Wilson because Patrick Queen is one of 7 veterans not playing tonight. So the next 2 in the depth chart are Landon Roberts and Peyton Wilson. So I would expect when the Steelers are in their 3-4 or even in their nickel, that those 2 linebackers are going to be the 2 on the field, at least to start things off. Who knows how many, if he plays a half, who knows? But I do think you will see a probably more of Peyton Wilson than you will see of like the first team offense or anything.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see it too, because in training camp so far, he has made everything look way easier than it should for a rookie, especially with at a position that is, it comes with a lot of responsibilities. There's a lot of responsibilities in run game, in pass coverage. And he's making it look way too easy. His athleticism, his speed are obviously a big reason for that. But just overall, his football IQ is on display too.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it. We've talked about it through training camp. He's making everything look easy as a rookie. I hope we see a lot of him tonight. To be honest, I hope we get to see kind of what he's capable of through, in the defense and playing against another team and everything like that. Because we've seen a lot of it in practice, but it's different from when you go from a practice to a stadium atmosphere. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how he does tonight and if he lives up to that billing.
Yeah, Jordan here says, got to take care of the ball. And that's, I wrote about this on DK Pittsburgh Sports .com. Mike Tomlin this is not a situation in which the Steelers are going in game planning to try to defeat the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
Like, obviously they want to win the game, but they aren't going in. This is not a full blown game plan to minimize CJ Stroud for 60 minutes or to try to beat a very good Houston defense. This is not that type of a game. Preseason is about focusing on your own team development and what you need to do offensively, defensively, special teams, especially because of the new kickoff rule. Everything's got to be about yourself. And one thing that Mike Tomlin stressed was ball security. And then on the defensive side, ball seeking, trying to get, punch the ball out whenever, you get up, go to make a tackle to try to obviously intercept the ball. Mike Tomlin loves his splash plays, but he also wants to prevent them as much as possible on the offensive side in terms of giving the ball to the other team. Yeah. So taking care of the ball, those fundamentals, pre-snap penalties, that's another emphasis. Those are the things that Mike Tomlin wants to see. If the Steelers are sloppy, especially the first teamers, if they're sloppy, if they've got false starts or legal procedures or whatever other kind of pre-snap penalties, that's going to be what's going to make him very, very upset.
Yeah, and like you said, it's not focusing on stopping the Texans. It's focusing on, doing what you need to do correctly. Putting some good tape, putting some good film on tape, and kind of moving forward, playing a clean football game is kind of what it's about tonight.
Corey says, I hope the twos can protect Fields well enough so that we can see his real play. He's playing with the starters. I mean, he's going to have the starting offensive line in front of him. And other than Isaac Seumalo, there are no other starting offensive linemen out. So throughout practice, the left guard that's gone in place of Seumalo when he's had his vet days off has been Spencer Anderson. So he would be the least experienced outside of obviously Troy Fautano if he's ever in there. But everybody else outside of Seumalo should be in there for Fields because he's probably going to be there for 2 series. Maybe 3 if the first 2 are like 3 and outs. Maybe they go put him out there for a 3rd series, but I would expect 2 series. So it's going to be the starting offensive line for him. So it's going to be the best protection he could possibly have other than having Seumalo in front of him.
Yeah.
So that's you're getting exactly what you want to see in terms of Fields' play because it's not like he is, as to your point, playing with the 2s or the 3s or anything like that. So because again, in case somebody here doesn't know, Russell Wilson is not playing tonight. They're continuing to hold him out because of the calf injury. We can continue to speculate, but Mike Tomlin has continued to say He's the starter. It's on the depth chart. That is real. To actually use the quote from Mike Tomlin, that is real. Here's a good question here. Any way John Reese Plumlee makes the roster?
Ooh,
What say you?
So this is a good question, and I think I had this in my live questions yesterday. I think if he is able to, like, we've talked about this a lot. The special teams are going to be huge this year with the new kickoff and everything like that. If he's able to make some type of impact on special teams, there's a possibility. And, and we've said that with a lot of these guys. I think it's a very, very, very slim chance that he does, because I don't see them carrying 4 quarterbacks. But if he comes out and lights up the kickoff and does really well, I mean, maybe, but I think it's a very, very slim chance.
I'm a Stephen A here. Practice squad.
Yeah.
To your point, they're not going to carry 4 quarterbacks on the 53-man roster.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you have this guy named Cordarrelle Patterson, who's working his way back from a non-football injury, who will be the kickoff guy. So I have a hard time seeing Plumlee, unless something happens with Kyle Allen or any of the other quarterbacks. I have a hard time seeing him making the 53-man roster. Practice squad? He might be that guy. He might be on the practice squad, but I have a hard time.
I was saying a slim chance, and I meant like, like
it's as slim as it can possibly get. William's got an intriguing question. How's the punters doing, or how's the punter doing? Cameron Johnston.
We've touched on this a couple times throughout camp. Nothing's changed. I mean, he hits bombs, and he's as advertised. So it'll be good to see him in live action. But yeah, he's solid.
Yeah, I agree. Lots of bombs, even the end over end kicks are. He's easily getting those to travel 40 yards from the line of scrimmage and aiming them right at the sideline. This is a legitimate punter.
Yeah,
I'm not going to try to say that the Steelers now have the best punter in the league or anything like that, but when you're talking about a massive upgrade over Presley Harvin, that's exactly that. Jerry asks, how's DK doing? Well, DK is with some customers right now here in the shop. So,
Marcus Golden has been placed on the reserve retired list.
Oh,
the Steelers just announced.
Oh, that is interesting. So we got some breaking news here. Wow. Okay. That's interesting. That's a shakeup there.
Yeah.
That's a big shakeup when it comes to the the edge rusher situation, because Marcus Golden just came back.
Yep.
And that, I mean, he was originally brought back in when David Perales went down with a knee injury during 7 shots, and that was gonna well, now you've got TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith as your starters, and then Marcus Golden and Nick Herbig as your 3 and 4, and Marcus Golden being placed on the reserve/retired list. That is DK is gonna be upset about that. I can tell you right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think I could be wrong here. Did he get banged up in the last practice or two at some point? Because he was in, like, he didn't practice at some point. I think it was, what's today? Friday. So
it had to have been after the Friday Night Lights. It had to have been after the Friday Night Lights, because he was in Friday Night Lights and he was he was winning reps, like rep after rep. It was just W after W. He was stacking them. Yeah. And then he talked Saturday morning and was very excited to be back. This is probably the biggest breaking news outside of one thing, which, by the way, we've got almost 14 minutes into the show and not talked about yet, which is good. But just saying,
no one's even mentioning it.
I know, this is awesome. This is awesome. We're not having to talk about it right now because honestly, there's nothing new to report on it. But either way, Marcus Golden being placed on the reserve/retired list. You hear that, DK? Man, this is crazy. That's interesting. Here's another thing that's come up in the chat a couple times. We can try to get to this. Mr. CJ Jr. brings this up. Juju back at the veteran minimum only. So the Patriots released Juju Smith-Schuster earlier today. I don't know if that's a legitimate option. I'm hesitant to bring back Juju, to be completely honest. He's 27. But there's just I have a hard time seeing him being able to really, at this point, knowing what he's gone through, to get past Van Jefferson and Calvin Austin and even Roman Wilson when he comes back. In my opinion, even Scotty Miller might be able to offer more. Yeah. So I just don't think that Juju is worth bringing back. Maybe you bring him in for a workout just to see, just to turn over that stone. But outside of that, I'm hesitant to want to possibly bring back Juju.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that for sure.
DK, no Juju. Marcus Golden, reserve/retired list today, just now.
Broke it on the Southside beat.
Broke it on the Southside beat, but yeah, if you could have seen the eyes roll just now, he was not happy. DK was just like, I like that guy. He is a really. I mean, I only got to do one interview with Marcus Golden, but yeah, he's the best. He's even Steelers PR glows about him, because when they were talking, because like, we know you weren't here last year, but man, Marcus is as good as it gets. I'm like, that's awesome. That really, really sucks for Marcus and honestly for the Steelers, because now, I mean, obviously that puts Nick Herbig in as the number 3, but then, okay, who's going to be the next guy? Is it going to be Jeremiah Moon? Does it open
up something for DeMarvin Leal to move out there?
Maybe that's why they started having him play out there a little bit more often.
Yeah.
So maybe you will see a heavy dose of DeMarvin Leal on the edge tonight. Maybe we'll see. So, okay. Just to touch on this, because even though it hasn't been brought up, just to touch on it, there is nothing new to report on.
You just had to start it. You had to start.
I had to. And listen, we can just say that because I'm sure somebody's going to ask about it. So I'm going to get out in front of it. Nothing new to report on the Brandon Ayuk stuff. It's worth tracking. It would obviously be a very, very big trade for the Steelers. He would immediately become their best offensive player. So, but nothing new to report. To me, this is just a waiting game. And I think Omar Khan has proven by now that he is absolutely patient enough to wait this out. So that's all I'm going to say on it.
Yep.
Greg, do you have anything to add to that?
Nope.
All right, good deal.
I think we've hit on it enough until there's new information to report. I think we're good on that.
John Davis says take our chances with Calvin Austin. I think that's like referring to the Juju stuff, and I would agree with that. Like, I don't think you need to be bringing in a guy that might still have it, and that's a very, very big might. I really do think you just need to see what Calvin Austin can do, what Van Jefferson can do. Again, is he worth possibly bringing in, as at least for a workout just to see? Sure, maybe, but again, there are just other options that they need to really look at in a stadium in this offense. And honestly, at this point, I would probably say Calvin Austin's probably a better receiver at this point than Juju Smith-Schuster, and that's not a dig at Juju or anything like that. He's done some very good things in the NFL, but at this point, just
I mean, I think
it's a no for me.
We were talking to
DK is giving everybody an emphatic no.
we were talking to Van Jefferson, I think it was last week maybe, and someone asked him about Calvin Austin. He spoke so highly of him, and he made a really good point. Like, Calvin's not built like a lot of wide receivers in the NFL. He's not tall, but he's short, he's super quick, and he provides offenses. He provides offenses with just a different look, a different talent, different skill set. And I think that can be really valuable in this offense when the time comes. And, I'm not saying he's out there and he's going to be a number 2 receiver or anything like that, but I think he presents a great skill set that can definitely be valuable in this league.
But the one thing that I do think that we all do have to remember when it comes to this whole receiver situation, as good as Van Jefferson has looked in camp and as good as Calvin Austin has looked in camp, there is a reason why the Steelers are still exploring external options, because a receiver such as Brandon Ayuk or DK Metcalf or any of these other guys that have been talked about immediately make this offense better, like significantly better. You can talk about the I understand some people's reservations about like, oh, it's an Arthur Smith offense. They want to run big personnel only. It's like, it doesn't necessarily have to be like that. Arthur Smith, an offensive coordinator as smart as him, can absolutely do enough with 2 receivers on the field.
Yeah.
Because a lot of remember, this is not the Matt Canada offense that never wants to use play action, right? The Steelers were one of the few, had one of the lowest play action rates last year, while Arthur Smith was near the top of the league. He loves to use play action, and it's almost a cheat code on first down nowadays to use play action.
Yeah.
So you don't have to have 3 receivers on the field in order to hurt defenses deep downfield. If you have George Pickens and Brandon Ayuk out there together, it's a lot more dangerous than putting George Pickens and Van Jefferson out there. Yeah. Put it that way. So anybody else that you're really looking forward to watching tonight, whether it's a bubble guy or whatever else, because there's a few other guys that I want to look at too, but anybody else that really sticks out to you?
I mean, DeMarvin Leal was the one that I wanted to see, to kind of see, how he plays tonight and what he brings to the table. Corey Trice was another guy, just to see him, back in action, see what he does on the outside, in the secondary and everything like that. And then the running backs. I mean, obviously there's, right now, Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, Cordell Patterson are all in the conversation, but I want to see what some of these other guys can do. Michael P. Ryan, Dejan Edwards, a couple of the other guys. Kind of interested to see, what they bring to the table as well.
Ben and Corey also bring up I formation and fullbacks. The I formation, it has worked in practice. It has worked in 7 shots. Is it going to work in the preseason? I am also interested to watch Jack Coletto, but I'm not necessarily looking forward to watching him as a fullback. I'm more interested to watch what he can do on special teams, because there is not a spot on a 53-man roster in today's NFL for a guy who can only play fullback, and that's it. Like even Derek Watt had to play special teams, and he was good at it. So Jack Coletto is going to have to find a way to contribute on special teams, whether that's in kickoff, whether that's in punt coverage, whatever it is. He has to find a way to contribute there. 45.
I gotta get in here.
Okay, DK's getting in here.
This guy can play football. I don't know what it is that they need to do to get him involved, whether it's special teams or not. You guys have seen some nutty formations out there, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. 13 personnel, but set up as a 5 wide.
Yep. I mean, they've used defensive linemen out there. I saw one where they had 2 defensive linemen in the middle of the pack there. This dude can play. He makes catches out of the backfield. I know I get it. You're fullback, so you can't play anymore in the NFL. But this guy, it takes a lot to get me riled up. But this guy can play.
Yeah.
This guy can play.
I do. I'm on the same train. I do really like Jack Coletto, and I've thought that he has looked really good in camp. And yes, football player is a great way to describe it. But I understand the thought process behind roster decisions especially when it comes to how Mike Tomlin, versatility is huge, a huge point of emphasis when it comes to Mike Tomlin giving roster spots to guys. And if Jack just cannot do anything on special teams, I have a hard time believing that he just automatically locks up, because I think that they think that Connor Hayward or even Michael Pruitt can do the same job.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And, we talked about it on the Southside Beat. I think it was Wednesday, because I wasn't there yesterday. Versatility, it's a huge thing. And we talked about he's going to need to be able to do something on special teams if he's going to make this roster. We haven't really seen him do much outside of playing fullback in the I formation and working on a little bit of special teams as well. One day DK came and Jack caught a pass right in front of us, and DK was, who is that guy?
He's athletic. He knows he is athletic. He knows where to go when they are running those. I mean, obviously you're just paving a path for the running back, but after watching this team for now multiple seasons, try to score from at the goal line and just not be able. I mean, okay, people can have their complaints about Najee Harris. That's fine. But Najee Harris knows how to gain yardage in short yardage situations, but you can't do it if your offensive line just can't pave a path for you.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing in 7 shots so far, which is goal line play, is that not only is Najee getting into the end zone behind a fullback, it's with ease.
Yeah.
It's not like he's having to then run somebody over. No, the path is being paved for him. So I'm excited to see what Jack can do for sure. That is a guy who I'm very, very much looking forward to playing. But I do think we have to bring up the fact that there is a listed starter on the depth chart.
Yeah, I was hitting on it next.
That is an undrafted free agent.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Benny Bishop is the starting slot corner, nickel corner, whatever you want to call him. Mike Tomlin doesn't do that. And even he admitted in his press conference, I kind of reluctantly did it because Cam Sutton's suspended and, Grayland Arnold has, been banged up with injuries. And so, and he said to his credit, he's done enough. He's done some good things in practice, and he has done some good things in practice, including a pick 6 of Justin Fields, just absolutely reading the play. It was a quick little screen or quick little pass, and he just read it, jumped in front of it, picked it off, ran it back. He's done some good things in practice. I want to see what he does in a game because this is an undrafted free agent who's immediately making an impact.
Yeah, I mean, I got a chance to talk to him a couple of days ago, and it was the day after the depth chart came out, and I was just, how's it feel to, obviously get this honor? And he's acting like the job still isn't his. He's still looking to go out and prove himself. He's still looking to improve his game, pick the brains of the veterans and everything like that. Like he knows that, like Tomlin said, it might have reluctantly been given to him at this point because of the situation on the team, but he knows that. He's aware of that, and he's ready to go out and still continue to prove himself. That he's capable of playing that spot, and he is. I mean, he's got great active hands. He's a great tackler. People say that he's a little undersized, but he's going to go up against the bigger guys too. He's taken them on continuously throughout camp, and he's been very impressive. So it's not just Tomlin might have said that he might have reluctantly gave it to him, but he's got the talent to get the job done. That's for sure.
He does. There is one thing that Beanie is going to have to change at some point, and that's his jersey number.
Yeah,
because he's wearing number 30 right now. Obviously it's a gold jersey in practice, but he won't be wearing number 30. That's Jalen Warren's number. So that's one thing that he'll have to change. And speaking of jersey numbers, just so that everybody can know, because Mark here asks, anybody know what number is the fullback? That's Jack Coletto. He's number 45. So that's the guy to watch. Number 45, Jack Coletto. Definitely a guy worth watching. Let's see. No, that's Matt Sokol, the tight end,
49.
who he needs to be updating his resume for Indeed. Matt Sokol is not going to be making this roster. There are just way too many other tight ends who are doing way more than he is.
Yeah. The tight end room is deep.
Another couple of guys that I want to see. They're going to be in the starting defense, so they might not play that much tonight. But Dante Jackson and Deshaun Elliott. I was having a debate with a couple of people on the sideline during the last practice because there was so little going. It was a glorified walkthrough. There was not much going on. And low debate saying like Deshaun Elliott might be the best strong safety this team has had since Troy Polamalu. Like he hasn't even played a snap for this team yet. And I'll throw that to the chat. Are there any other names that stick out to you? Think of strong safeties since Troy Polamalu. And think possibly anybody who could be better than what Deshaun, because right now Deshaun Elliott is everywhere where the ball is.
Yeah, he's
everywhere. If the ball's there, Deshaun Elliott's there. And the great thing about Deshaun Elliott, what he's doing is that he can play your typical strong safety position. And then when the Steelers want to run the big nickel and have 3 safeties out there, he can play in the box in the slot, and he can cover a tight end, cover a receiver in a pinch.
One of my favorite matchups so far through camp has been Deshaun Elliott on Pat Freiermuth. I mean, it's produced great. Yeah, it's produced great plays after great plays. I mean, he's making Pat Freiermuth make like one-hand catches on the sidelines and things like that. I mean, Justin Fields has made some great throws, so has Russ. But that's been a fun matchup to watch throughout the beginning parts of camp.
For sure. Jim asks, is Elliott okay? I thought he had an injury. He did get banged up on Wednesday, but he was back at practice on Thursday and fully participated. Now, granted, like I said, it was a glorified walkthrough. They didn't do very much. They didn't do 7 shots. They didn't do almost anything. Mike Tomlin didn't even talk that would have typically been a day in which they didn't have any media or fans there. It's the day before a game. So the fact that they had somebody there, maybe they just had a certain amount of practices they wanted to have with fans in attendance. I don't know. But no, Deshaun Elliott, even in the practice where he got banged up, he came back and then he participated yesterday. So I expect him to play. Like I said, it could be for just a couple of series, but I'm excited to see what he does. And then Dante Jackson, listen, he has been another guy from the very beginning. He's not winning every single rep out there. No corner is going to bat 1,000, but he is as competitive and as fiery as anybody else out there.
I think he fits into the secondary really well too. I mean, him and Joey Porter Jr. really complement each other. And when you throw guys like, Beanie Bishop and Deshaun Elliott and into that mix as well, DeMonte Casey, everything like that, they all kind of mesh pretty well. Dante Jackson and Joey Porter Jr. kind of have the same demeanor to them. They like to talk trash. They like to get in the other receivers' heads. They're kind of switching back and forth as well. They've both spent time covering George Pickens throughout camp. And they both played really well, but Dante Jackson's definitely been a good signing so far, a good asset, a good addition to the team. Not signing, addition to the team.
All righty. So we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. But before we do, so typically the day before a game or the day of a game, whenever we're doing the most recent episode up to a game, we give a score prediction. It seems very, very pointless because it's the preseason. It really doesn't matter who wins and loses. So do you have any predictions or anything that you want to say for tonight? Is the first team offense going to score a touchdown? Will there be a kickoff returned for a touchdown? Any prediction you want to give out there, throw out there?
I'm going to say Justin Fields is going to throw a touchdown in one of his 2-3 series to start the game.
Throw a touchdown, not run for a touchdown.
Throw a touchdown.
Okay, so Justin Fields throwing for a touchdown. Okay, that's a pretty good one. I'm going to go Peyton Wilson, either or, gets a sack or an interception in this game. One way or the other, a sack or an interception. Don't know how that will come. Maybe it just ends up as a TFL. I don't know. But Peyton Wilson is going, I believe he's going to make some sort of impact out there. So I'll say either sack or interception. That's what I'm going to go with.
All right.
Well, thank you everybody for Nick. Nick has a good. I cannot end the show without saying this. Justin Fields kick return touchdown. Of all the things that we have seen in practice, Justin Fields in kickoff coverage or kickoff return duties has not been one of them. But that's a very, very good one to put out there. Rick predicts Fields to Van Jefferson. That's a pretty good one. I think that would be good too.
Another one I'd love to see is Plumlee return a kickoff or
Plumlee return a kickoff
30 plus yards or something like that. That'd be great.
Okay. I'll make another prediction. I predict that there won't be a kickoff return past the 35-yard line.
Okay. All right.
Because it just looked if you watch the Hall of Fame game, it was absolutely the most anticlimactic preseason game. I mean, it was already a preseason game, so it sucked to begin with. And then one thing we were watching for was the kickoff, and it just was.
I think teams are going to start figuring out how to attack it. I think they're going to start figuring it out, like coming up with new blocking schemes in the setup zones and everything like that. And I think it's going to start. Teams are going to start figuring it out. I think it's going to get a little more interesting, but we'll see.
All right. Thank you everybody for joining today. Thank you everybody for watching live. And if you're not watching live, thank you for listening in. Enjoy the game tonight. Have a great weekend. We'll catch you guys on the flippity flip. We'll see you later.
See ya.